Hello, chat. Hello, guys. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing? Hi, Lunar. Hi, Celeste. Yippee early on a Monday for once? Hell yeah. I literally... I finished writing the summary for this chapter at 8:55. I was waiting until the last minute. I was scrambling around doing stuff. Hi, Arch. How are you doing? Oh my goodness. I'm a little tired boy tonight, too. I'm doing fine. It's Monday, so I've got a long week ahead. I'm currently trying to draw YWDMP Dave and Beck and Keels Over Dead. Yeah, for real. Loved Procrastinate. It's funny you say that, Celeste, because it's like, I had the whole weekend. I could have written the summary at any point this weekend. And I didn't. And I waited until right before stream. Hi, Crenshaw. I haven't drawn dogs in so long, but I fucking love him true. I have not a long week. Who is anybody else on spring break? I'm on spring break right now. For my semester. Which is very fun. I have so much work to do, but it's not due for a little bit, so yay for procrastination. Woo! Not yet, one more week. Gotcha. I'm gonna be enjoying my spring break by playing a stupid amount of Minecraft, which I've already kind of started doing. Spent exactly 10 minutes away from my MC realm, and I'm hopping right back on now. You get your podcast while you play Minecraft. Hi, Cherry. Hello. So we're doing a full recap today, or full recap of last chapter because it was weekend, so we get to do that. I have holidays in like 3 weeks. That's fun. School will be hitting me hard. Yeah. Perfect strip mining background noise. Yeah, we love to see it. See me from work. Hey, I could play Minecraft as well. I would love to play Minecraft and listen to a podcast, but here I am, being the podcast. I'm binging The Walking Dead while drawing, and man, I'm so ill. Ooh. I've been thinking about apocalypse stuff because of Last of Us. Did anybody watch Last of Us episode? Oh my god, did you guys watch The Last of Us last episode? Oh my god. Oh my little heart. I'm so sad it's over. It was a good final episode. I've heard that I might be wrong, but I thought I heard somewhere that they're doing part 2 in more than just one season. Like they're going to be doing it over the course of multiple seasons, which is really interesting if they do. They're also not recasting Bella or Pedro Pascal. So winning, we love to see it. Yeah, part 2 is gonna be really fascinating. We win. Hi, Willow. Hi, Rose. Hi, just met this weekend watching all the VODs. You're reading them, excited to catch it live. Yay! Let's see. They're the best on Card sense. Yeah, I think that Bella and it was perfect casting. I think that Bella is Ellie. It's so perfect in my brain. Also, okay, and this is kind of talking about episode 9. So if you haven't seen it, then be warned. But oh my god, Ashley Johnson. Oh my god, Ashley Johnson. Oh my god, Ashley Johnson as Ellie's mom. Oh my god, I can't believe we got that. Oh, it was so perfect. I loved that beginning part. Might be sketching a design for a character in a zine I'm doing during stream. Ooh, very fun. Hell yeah. Alright. So yeah, but I'm very excited. Though it's gonna be like another 2 years or something before Last of Us Part 2 comes out. Which sucks. Oh, but they did it so well. I honestly think that the show was a better took the game and improved on it, where I could say that between the two story-wise, the show did the story, executed the story better. which is wild. That's very, 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 very rare from a video game adaptation of all things. I'm thumbnailing right now, so this will be an interesting, or this will be nice background noise. Hell yeah! For Martin Limited Life stuff, or are you doing it? Doing other things? That's what I assume. Whenever you're saying thumbnailing, that's what I always assume because you're hell yeah. I knew I was right. Yes, sir. All right. Let me pull up the summary and we'll hop in. So chapter 21 was last chapter. Okay, I gotta go back to drawing and watching show. Cactus, have fun, chatters and Chris. No worries, Arch. Thanks for popping in as you usually do. Okay, chapter 21. We start. Hello late to the stream. Starry Google Chrome for some reason decided not to work. No worries, Ellipti. We were just getting started with the summary, so you're all fine. Okay, so with chapter 21, Garget wakes back up, is able to understand English again. Him and Solux are, still in Joey and Jude's house with Jade. Jade's like, hey, we're gonna go back to the island and do more research on my grandpa. Jade says her goodbyes to Joey and Jude, and both of them reassure her that she's welcome back at their home at any time. And then Solux teleports them, gives them a ride back to Jade's island. Solux also then decides he's going to go stay back with Dave and Rose and teleports away. So Jade and Karkat further go into Jake's study, do more research, and they learn a series of things. The first thing that they find is Jake's first encounter with his gentleman caller, and that it was in a bar in Georgia while he was searching for this cryptid creature. The quote-unquote gentleman caller charms Jake upon, them talking. He's very charmed by him. And during their chat, another man named Johnny walks into the bar and hears something on the jukebox, and the jukebox was playing some sort of dueling banjos song, and Johnny laughs and says oh, it's a shame that people don't duel in my instrument of choice, because he'd bet his soul that he was the best fiddle player around. And Jake's companion, the gentleman caller, is instantly on his feet and takes Johnny up on the deal. And Jake describes his gentleman caller as looking hungry, quote unquote. And then the two-man play, but it wasn't, Jake describes it as it not being anything like music he's ever heard. But by the end, it's obvious that Johnny had won. And Jake's companion holds his fiddle out after he was defeated, turns it into solid gold, drops it to the ground, and then leaves. And Johnny snatches the fiddle up and winks before also leaving. They then further look more into info on the gentleman caller, and they find Jake's next encounter with him, the next encounter that they wrote about, how Jake was, his gentleman caller had found him, and Jake jokes about oh, if you're gonna be this flirtatious with me, at least take me out to dinner, right? And then suddenly his gentleman caller snaps his fingers, and they're in this super fancy restaurant with these waitresses around, and it's just another kind of little encounter, a little Jake being a bit charmed by this guy, and Jade and Karkat know about how absolutely stupid Jake is, because it's very obvious that this is, and even Jake knows that this is some sort of demon. They look into a few more notes, and they see while Jake was on this new island that he ended up taking up the gentleman caller's proposal to create this island for his research. Hi, Mel. His gentleman caller propositioned him an idea and talked about how, Fae, and specifically changelings, had been getting more protection under the law, to Jake's, distaste as somebody who doesn't like Fae. And the gentleman caller suggested that Jake could raise a Fae child and study them to observe them in a, quote unquote, completely, controlled environment, and then use those findings as proof to counter some of those laws. And that the Fae child could be observed and experimented on however he wanted. And Karkat and Jade are horrified that this is why Jade was essentially stolen from her home with the Fae. She wasn't even a changeling; she was just taken. And Jade is Karkat, I need some time alone to read over these, because she finds all of Jake's research journals. Karkat's take all the time you need. Dave tries to text Karkat while Karkat's Karkat's having this kind of struggling with how to help Jade and stuff like that. Dave tries texting him, and he's like, I can't talk right now. Eventually Jade comes back out and is like, I'm going to go home with Jude and Joey. They head to the port. A Karkat takes Abraxas with him. Jade also brings Beck. They leave the island. Jade gets picked up by Joey, and Karkat flies back to his dorm. And he's feeling super lonely. He realizes his phone is dead and he doesn't have a charger. He goes to buy a new one, stops at a cafe that he and Dave regularly go to. Still feeling kind of really fucking lonely and just talking like he can't really go back home to Dave and Rose, or back to Dave and Rose's home, because of Roxy and how it would stress her out, and just, you know, he can't go see June, blah blah blah. So he's feeling lonely. Then suddenly, while in the cafe, Aridin shows up, and Aridin's like, hey, like, I'm also alone for the holidays, like, you want to hang out? And so they plan to do some movie nights in the future, just to share some company. Aridin leaves. Karkat checks his phone now that it's charged and sees, like, Dave, like, frantically texting, like, oh my god, like, where are you? You're not responding. And then also frantic text from Solux. We're like, hey, Dave was really worried about you, so I checked, and you're not in your dorm, you're not Jade's, you're not, you know, at Joey and Jude's. Where the fuck are you? And Karkat quickly texts him like, you know, I'm here at the cafe, like, don't worry. And Solux like, just let Dave know, because he's the one that's freaking out. Karkat goes to return to his dorm. He's bored. He's lonely. He's like, maybe I can go to my job. Goes sees Kanaya and Miss Paint. And Miss Paint gives him a new book to read, and it's Interpreting Dreams by Sigmund Freud. Karkat goes to start reading it. It's one of the cursed books. Karkat goes to start reading it, instantly falls asleep, and gets a memory of him and Solux in a hotel room pre-event, hanging out the morning after they slept together. Karkat, during the memory, gets compelled to go back to Cancri, and then the memory ends. Karkat then messages Solux to confirm it was a memory, and after Karkat goes back home, he gives Dave a call to chat. Karkat tells Dave that they should go on a proper date when they get back, and then Roxy pulls Dave away to get dinner. As Karkat lays in bed, loneliness stinks back in, and he texts Aridin asking if they wanted to watch the movie tonight, and Aridin is happy to agree. And that's where we end off that fucking chunky-ass chapter. To another chunky-ass chapter. We are on chapter 22, Problems, 16k words. So not the hugest chapter we ever read. This is the only chapter so far that has had a trigger warning. It's a trigger warning for this chapter for various reasons. This chapter will deal with police, so if that's very upsetting to you, please proceed with caution. Yeah, that was so much. It was also a lot because I wrote this frantically in the last 15 minutes, and I didn't really compress the info, so that's also kind of on me for just writing it very scatterbrained. But a lot of info last stream. Essentially, where we are, if we're recapping, Aridin and Karkat are hanging out. That's where we're at. Okay, so let me turn down the music a little bit more, and we should be good to start. I'm gonna take a little drink of water. Okay. Also, if you need to read the summary yourself, you can do !summary in chat, and you can find the link to the Google Drive or the Google Doc where that is. But we're gonna get started. Okay. Let me put this down. Right. I don't see what this has to do with Christmas, Aridin says with a frown at the TV. You have zero patience, you sigh and slide down the sofa. Aridin's sofa is great. His whole apartment is fantastic, actually. Plush and expensive. Not that Rose has cheap stuff, so it's really saying something when it's nicer than your place. You've no idea how the hell he afforded this place on his own, but you're not going to ask. It looks more like a Halloween movie. Hey, stop hogging that. Aridin pouts and tugs on the gourmet popcorn bowl over your lap. It's both, you agree. You wince a little on screen as stop-motion vampires, werewolves, and witches appear. So this world is supposed to be the concept of Halloween and scary things, which is why everything is so like that. At least, I think that was Burton's defense for why there are portrayals of vampires that haven't been okay since the black and white era of cinema. They're meant to be like the idea of vampires that people have that frightens them. Same with witches. Back when that was all hush-hush, people had ideas, you explain. Aridin chews some popcorn and considers this as the movie keeps playing. Is that the real reason, or just some bullshit excuse to cover his ass about something that he'd get in trouble with? Aridin asks. That's the question. I feel a little bad for being able to look past it, because despite that, it's a good movie with some really great musical numbers. Maybe I shouldn't watch it for that, but I don't know. You sigh. You sound just like Aridin cuts himself off with a laugh. People online who look way too deep into everything? Yeah, you groan. You watch Jack Skellington's number about feeling like no one understands him, about wanting to be something other than what he's supposed to be. It's a good song. It's nice that you care, Aridin says softly. That's the bare minimum, though, isn't it? Caring. You point out. You're pretty much ignoring the movie by now. A lot of people don't even do that, he counters. Yeah, well, it's not a good thing, you snort. You're well aware lots of people don't give a shit about things. I don't know. I think it can be hard to care sometimes. It always seems like there's so much bad shit going down that there's nothing that can be done to make things better. It's all just pointless, you know? He sighs wearily. You turn on the sofa and look at him. He seems tired and sad. His eyes are downcast and his body language is heavy. I can see why you'd say that. I feel like that too sometimes. One of my friends recently found out about something terrible that was done to her, and it feels like there's nothing I can do in the face of that to make it better, you know? You just despair. You agree? So you know what I mean, Aridin says. Yes, but I don't think it's right. I can't fix what happened to my friend, but I could be there for her. I could take her to somewhere with people who could look out for her. I could toss her a pet in the room so he could make her feel better. I did what I could to show her that I cared. It doesn't fix her problem, but I think it helped, you point out. I'm not saying that it wasn't nice, Aridin starts. I was feeling really shitty and lonely before I ran into you and we did this. You made things better for me, you interrupt. Aridin seems startled at your words and you watch as his face goes a little pink. All I'm saying is that if everyone tried to do nice things, even small things, then the world would be better. Lots of people doing small things makes for a lot of good. Besides, it's only the people deliberately making things bad from places of power who want you to think that you can't do anything, you add. And if you're wrong, he asks after a moment of silence. Well then shit, I guess I just did nice things. How terrible, you say and rolling your eyes. Oh shit, finally something Christmas related, Aridin gasps as on screen Jack Skellington moves towards the door to Christmas Town. I told you to be patient, you say teasingly. The rest of the movie passes easily enough, and you've seen it before, so you can fill Aridin in on the bits you were talking over. He tries to tell you about how Christmas trees weren't always a Christian thing, but instead were pagan, which of course you already knew. Everyone knows that. The two of you watched the movie all the way through, and it's pretty clear that he enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna have that Oogie Boogie song stuck in my head now, he says as he stretches his arm above his head. It's unfairly catchy, you agree, and get up with the now empty popcorn bowl. Do you want to do this again? Maybe the day after tomorrow? Aridin asks hopefully as you put the bowl in the sink. Yeah, we could do Home Alone. That's a pretty classic Christmas movie, you suggest. I'd really like that, Aridin smiles, and it makes something inside of you glow. You'd been feeling so alone, and now you're not. You should come to mine this time. We can take turns so it's fair, you say. He was nice enough to host this time and provide snacks, too. The least you could do is repay him in kind. Maybe when the rest of your friends come back, you can get everyone together and have a regular movie club. That sounds great, Aridin nods. You say your goodbyes and head home after that, a warm glow in your heart the whole way back. You even manage to text and walk at the same time because you're just so good like that. Carcinogeneticist began trolling Turntech Godhead. Hey, what are your thoughts on the controversial Nightmare Before Christmas? No thoughts, head empty. Sigh. Okay, but seriously, I think the characters in that are meant to be like the symbolic versions of themselves. Like, obviously, Jack can do shit that liches can't, and Sally isn't anything like how necromancy really works. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I get why people wouldn't be cool with it. Oh, for sure. But it's an old movie too, so different time, I guess. Dave, that movie came out in 1993. Yeah, literally the last millennia. A bajillion years ago. I only recently found out my age, and I already feel old. Wait, you know how old you are now? Well, no, not exactly. I just know that I'm older than I thought I was, and older than Solux. I mean, I showed up in Jake fucking Harley's journal saving his life, so I've at least been around that long. You're at least my mom's age, I guess. And now this whole thing feels creepy. I feel like a creep. Dude, you're not human. Human ages don't apply. Also, you can only kind of say it's sketchy if there's a big gap in maturity between species, and we both know that neither of us are mature at all. You're immature. I'm mature. Tell me more about that kid's Christmas movie you just got done watching. That's it. I'm going to tell on you. Also very mature. And who are you going to tell on me to? Solux? Because he's going to laugh at you. Carcinogenesis began trolling Tentacle Therapist. Rose, your brother is cyberbullying me. Make him stop. How terrible of him. I shall believe you without question, dearest fictional husband. You're the best fictional wife. Yes, we surely are the most normal and completely straight married couple. Why weren't you home for dinner, dear? Or why weren't you home for dinner, dear? Do you not love me anymore? Of course I do. I was just out meeting up with the boys in an entirely non-homo-romantic fashion. Ah, I see. The cold one with the boys that I've heard so much about. So glad you understand. I was actually out with a boy, I suppose, watching a movie with a friend from a class who's still over here on winter break. Oh, what did you see? The Nightmare Before Christmas. I will neither comment on my thoughts on that particular piece of cinema, nor will you ask how much of its merchandise is shamefully hidden in my attic. I wouldn't dream of it. Glad to hear. So, this movie date, who was it with? It wasn't a date. Not everyone, in fact, almost no one, is romantically interested in me. I believe you thought that about Dave and Solux in the past, no? That is unrelated. He's just a guy from my history of magic class. I don't think he has a lot of friends, and he doesn't remember his past either. Besides, he's not local either, and I can relate to that. I can have friends, Rose. Of course you can. I didn't mean to suggest otherwise. Where is your friend from, anyway? Somewhere I've not heard of. He said New Amsterdam when I asked. New Amsterdam? Yeah. Carcat, that's an old name for the part of New York before it was even New York. It doesn't exist under that name since 1664. That can't be right. Did you forget what state I'm from, and also my basic ability to Google? Maybe it's still called that by locals or something? I'm local, Carcat. Sorry, well, maybe he meant a new part of Amsterdam. Does he sound like he's Dutch? Well, no, but I don't sound like I'm from Georgia. Carcat. I also noticed him not breathing one time. Carcat, your friend isn't human. He could be an angel like you. Is that such a bad thing? I've been talking to him and he seems like a nice guy. Maybe he doesn't know what he is yet. If he didn't, then why would he name a place that doesn't exist anymore? It could have just come to him, like little things do with me. Please be careful. I would hate for anything to happen to you. I wouldn't be a fan of things happening to me either. Things that happen to me have a track record of being bad. Quite. I would also hate to have to hunt down and kill this friend of yours if he did anything to you. Very funny. It's kind of nice now. You spend time with Aridin every other evening or so. You watch a movie and hang out, just chatting and shooting the shit about your classes. Excuse me. Occasionally, you've cracked a book or two together and looked at your shared homework for your History of Magics class. During the daytime, you spend at the library hanging out with Kanaya and trying to get yourself acquainted with that Freud book without passing out again. You lift the book up in your hands, and Kanaya works on repairing the cover of another book nearby. It seems that holiday breaks are a great time to pull books for repairs. As you hold it, you can feel the slight compulsion to read it seeping through your skin. I slept well last night, you tell Kanaya. Good? Kanaya says, a pencil held between her teeth as she neatly folds a cover over and presses it to the glue. So if I pass out, please wake me up. There's no need to let me sleep, so I can catch up on it or anything. You explain. Kanaya nods, and so you return your attention to the book. You fan its pages slowly and feel the subtle hypnotic pull from within. You will not fall asleep. You will not. You set it down. Leaning over the book on the table, you open it and start to read from where you'd left off before. I shall begin by giving a short account of views of earlier writers on this subject, and of the status of the dream problem in contemporary science, since in the course of this treatise I shall not often have occasion to refer to either. Oh, you definitely feel like you're going to fall asleep, but that might just be Freud. Focus. Deny the book the chance to do what it wants. In spite of thousands of years of endeavors, little progress has been made in the scientific understanding of dreams. This fact has been so universally acknowledged by previous writers on the subject that it seems hardly necessary to... Your face hits the book. You hit the floor and bounce off, hissing with anger. You roll and get to your feet, but everything around you is endless white. You can't throw me in here every time I disagree with you, you scream into the void. I know you're still aware of me when I'm in here. Let me out, you yell as loudly as possible. Your voice fades into nothing of white around you, and, of course, there is no response. Oh, he's going to play it like that then, is he? You flick open your hand at your side and draw a huge circle of amplification. You start to fire off fireworks around you, set fires where you can, will kindling into existence to sustain it, and most of all, you scream. You scream every obscenity you know, and everything you know that Cancri is ashamed of or scandalized about. If you have to be stuck in here, you're going to at least make him as miserable about it as you can. Carcat, wake up. Kanaya shakes your shoulder and you jerk upwards from the book. God Damn it, you mutter, rubbing at your face. Your nose is sore. You hit that book quite hard. Are you all right? Kanaya asks, sweeping your hair back from your face a little. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just sore. Mostly my pride hurts. You sigh and lean back in your chair. It feels like you're never going to get this, and now you're just sad because Kankri sucks and your past clearly isn't great. Perhaps you should go get something to eat. It's getting close to dinner time, isn't it? Kanaya suggests. You glance at the clock and see that it's almost 6. I guess. I'll come back, though. I'm determined not to let this thing beat me. You insist and get up, flicking the book shut with one hand and trying not to look at it as you do. I actually finished at 7. Would you want to come by my apartment after work? I have drinks and we could play some games, perhaps, Kanaya suggests. You perk up at that offer. You like Kanaya, and getting to hang out with her outside of work is something you definitely like, and haven't really done much before. Well, there was that party, but that didn't end super well for you, did it? Oh, that'd be really cool. Do you want me to bring you back anything from the cafeteria? You offer. If the Polish lady who is on the drinks section is there, I'd love one of their hot chocolates. Otherwise, don't worry, Kanaya tells you. See, I didn't want one until you brought it up, but now I have a desperate need for the same thing. You laugh and pull your coat and scarf on. Kanaya just smiles at you teasingly and goes back to repairing her book as you leave. You toss your cursed book into your bag, and with a wave at Kanaya, you head out. The cafeteria is pretty quiet, which is a nice change from how it's usually packed when you eat here in term time. It's a tofu noodle type thing, which is actually decently tasty, enough that you can hold a meandering nothing conversation with Dave over Trollian with one hand and happily eat your meal with the other. It turns out that the Polish lady is there making drinks, so when you're done with your food, you hurry over to her and order 2 of her fantastic hot chocolates for you and Kanaya. With that done, you quickly go back to the library. Just as you're getting close to the building, you see Kanaya step through the doorway. She spots you and waves. Perfect timing, Kanaya calls out to you with a smile. She was there, you say happily, and hold Kanaya's drink out to her. Kanaya takes it from you, sips from the cardboard, and groans in delight. You have to agree. It's good stuff. This way, Kanaya says, and turns from the library. You follow along with her, enjoying the cold evening air when you get to drink hot chocolate to keep you warm. So, have you, heard much from Rose? Kanaya asks, keeping her eyes straight ahead, which is a shame because she doesn't get to see the Cheshire cat grin on your face. I talk to her pretty much every day. I mentioned about seeing you when I go to the library, about the movies I've been watching, you say casually. Does she, Kanaya, a deep voice that thrums in your bone marrow comes from behind you. You jump and squeeze your paper cup of hot chocolate in your alarm, shooting it all up your sleeve and over your hand. You whirl around and look up at a tall woman that immediately pings you as a vampire. Mother, what are you doing here? Kanaya gasps. I missed you. Who is this? The woman asks, turning her gaze on you. Her eyes are so very green. Oh, fuck, I'm sorry. I'm Karkat. I work with Kanaya. I'd shake your hand, but, you trail off and hold up your hot chocolate-covered hand to demonstrate. Oh, dear. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. I think I have something, she says, and pulls her thick black cloak aside to reveal a handbag. She rummages around in it for a minute before pulling out a packet of wet wipes and tugs one out to pass it to you. Her casual and thinking niceness, with an undercurrent of being actually terrifying, makes the resemblance to Kanaya all the stronger. Thank you, you say uncertainly as you take the offered wipe from her. You're not going to turn down the chance to not be sticky in the near future. Kanaya seems a little embarrassed at her mother's offer and shakes her head. Not that I'm not pleased to not see you, but you visiting is a little unexpected, Kanaya says as you clean your hand off. I know, it's just the town I was in suddenly got very into celebrating, and it was just a little too much, so I wanted to see you. I did bring you a gift to apologize for showing up unannounced, she says, and goes back into her handbag again. It must have some kind of bag of holding enchantment on it, because the bottle that she pulls out is fancy and old-looking, filled with a dark liquid. I got it from the priest in a town I passed through in Italy, Kanaya's mother says with a secret smile. Oh, shit, you gasp as she hands it to Kanaya. It's not blood, Kanaya says hurriedly. I wasn't thinking that, and I don't really care if it was. It just looked old and expensive. Wow, you say in awe and lean a little closer to look at the label on it. It's so old that it's yellowed. Well, yes, I suppose. Thank you, Mother. I really wasn't expecting this, Kanaya says with a touch of awkwardness. Think nothing of it. But I feel rude. I've not introduced myself to your friend. Karkat, was it? She asks, and you nod. My name is Miriam. Kanaya's mother. I'm very pleased to meet you, and I'm very sorry for scaring you, she says and offers you her hand. You quickly dry yours on your shirt and shake her hand. It's cool, but perfectly manicured. Don't worry about it. It's great to meet you, you tell her cheerfully. You look across to Kanaya and can't help but wonder how often she gets to see her mother. You know, if you two want to catch up, we can always hang out another time. It's not like I'm going anywhere, you tell Kanaya. What? No, you don't need to do that, Kanaya insists. Oh dear, I didn't mean to interrupt your plans. I can always come by your apartment another night, Kanaya, Porum says with a worried little crease to her brow. Wait, no, you've clearly come from further away than me, and I see Kanaya all the time at work. You don't need to put off seeing her, you insist. How about you both stop fussing over who's going to bow out, and you both come back to mine? I insist, Kanaya says that last part so firmly that you don't dare deny her. When you look at her mother, she seems amused and charmed by Kanaya's insistence, and so the pair of you follow her back to her home. As you walk, Kanaya's mother makes small talk with you both. How's the degree going, Kanaya? She asks. Pretty well. I'm studying magical knowledge encoded into fabric with weaving as a way of preserving it from outsiders, Kanaya explains. It's really impressive, you chip in. Oh, like my scarf, you mean, Porum says and pulls a jade green scarf out from the inside of her full-length black cloak. You're not an academic source, Mom. I told you this before. But yes, like that, Kanaya nods. You wonder how many degrees Kanaya must have, and you can't help but be in awe of her dedication. What about you, Carcat? What are you studying? Porum asks politely. I'm only in my first year, so it's still a lot of everything. They want people to have a good base knowledge before deciding what they want to specialize in. Whatever I go into, I want to be something that can help people, you tell her. He's very sweet. You should see him with the students. I don't think he ever contemplates cramming a book down anyone's throat for being annoying, Kanaya laughs. Hey, I'd never do that to a book. I do deeply think about strangling a few people, though. How many times do I have to tell your group to be quiet? I can hear you even when I've walked around the corner. You grumble. Some people, Kanaya agrees with a sigh. Kanaya's mother seems to be amused by this discussion, and you guess Kanaya realizes that she might have been left out and turns her next question to her. How was the trip here? Kanaya asks. Traveling across the country was never a problem. I like seeing places in all the towns on the way. The boat journey across from Europe is always terribly tedious, she sighs. You got a boat? Can't you teleport? You ask her curiously. I could, but I don't trust it. Being magically sent somewhere, who knows where you could end up, or who could take you on the way. No, I would rather walk or get a boat, Porum says sternly. Kanaya shoots you a look to tell you that you shouldn't question it. That sounds like it'd be a long trip, you say instead. Oh, yes, but I had books and knitting, so time passes. Plus, when you're my age, you get a different perspective on how long things really take, Porum shrugs. That sounds pretty nice, actually. Although, saying that Halloween feels like forever ago, but it wasn't all that long ago. Right, Kanaya? You say, looking over at her as she pulls keys from her ring. Don't ask me. I'm not that much younger than my mother, and I still don't have a track on the passing of time, Kanaya says flatly and goes to unlock her front door. Perhaps it's based on maturity rather than age, then, Porum says airily. Kanaya pauses, her hand on her key in the door. She turns to her mother with a perfectly straight face, and then her immaculately painted black lips part just right for her to stick her tongue out at her mother. The older and distinctly intimidating-looking vampire next to you snorts in amusement, and Kanaya lets you all in. You think you like her. Kanaya's place is wonderfully decorated, speaking to the fact that she's been here longer than you have and has really adapted this place to herself. Colorful and intricate fabric hangs from the walls and over the ceiling in places in wide sheets. It should make the place feel claustrophobic, but it instead has the effect of the world's classiest blanket fort. She makes her way to a little kitchenette, which isn't any bigger than your own, but you suppose she doesn't really use it. There's stacks of tea and coffee in glass-fronted cupboards, and stacks of fancy glasses and cups. The plain value-looking microwave that the place probably came with is loaded up under the envelopes, and there's a spool of kitchen towel in front of it. Clearly, nothing is cooked in here. She does, however, have a very high-tech fridge that looks almost medical in use. Vampires are legally allowed to get blood from blood banks or from consenting donors in person. You know that it's typically something only done when a vampire is dating someone. You wouldn't want to ask Kanaya about Kanaya's eating habits because it's rude as fuck and none of your business. Besides, you're sure that tactless chumps ask about it regularly, and you don't want to be a tactless chump. Instead of doing any of that, you take your coat off as Kanaya's mother elegantly sweeps her long black cloak off. Underneath, she's wearing a stunning evening gown, and her skin is decorated with curling tattoos. You guess when you live that long, you can just do and wear whatever the fuck you want. She flicks her long black hair, which settles elegantly over her shoulders. Does everyone who lives as long as you two look like movie stars or what? Actually, no, that can't be right. I've seen a guy who's several thousand years old, and he looks like a nerdy Minecraft Twitch streamer. You say as you remember Matuna. That guy doesn't look like a movie star. I like this one, Porm grins, showing off her fangs as she smiles. Me too, Kanaya laughs. Porm seems to consider you for a moment and glances to her daughter, who is currently setting the fancy bottle down on the kitchen counter. You know that my daughter is very gay, right? She says surreptitiously. Mother, Kanaya gasps in horror. Oh, no, I already knew, and I'm definitely spoken for anyway. I have like 2 boyfriends, you tell her hurriedly. That seems like more trouble than it's worth, Kanaya's mother says thoughtfully. Yeah, I bet they think that about me, you scoff. You're pretty sure that you're a lot of work for both Dave and Solux. Karkat and I are just friends, not that it's any of your business, mother, Kanaya says pointedly and narrows her eyes at Porum, who looks as innocent as can be. Karkat, would you like a drink? Kanaya asks sweetly, moving on from her accusation towards her mother and gesturing to the bottle on the side. No, I'm good. I don't know if I can drink alcohol, and that looks fancy. I'd hate to waste it. Besides, it was a gift for you, you assure her. Fair enough. I suppose I should be glad that you're limited in what you can tell her, aren't you? Kanaya says deviously as she pulls 2 wine glasses out from the cupboard. Funny, you mutter. Limited? Porum asks curiously. It's a stupid magic thing I did without knowing what I was doing. Now I can't talk about a specific thing, you explain. A deal sort of thing, Kanaya adds and bites the cork in the bottle and pulls it out with her fangs. Porum's eyes widen a little and she looks at you in surprise. A deal with a demon? She asks. No, that wasn't. I guess it's a similar thing. I made a promise, a vow, that I wouldn't talk about something, and, well, you peel back your sleeve, and the whitish writing on your arm flares up so it's visible. You don't see Porum move. 1 second she's there, and the next she's on the other side of the counter, putting herself between you and Kanaya. The fancy bottle topples over on its side, and with a loud clang, the red liquid comes rushing out. You gasp and quickly try to right the thing, but now there's wine over your hands. Get out, get away from us, Porum snarls, her face shifting into something feral and utterly furious. I'm sorry, I don't, you try to apologize, though you don't understand what you've done. Porum pulls out a glowing green blade out of seemingly thin air and levels it at you. Don't think that I don't know how to kill your kind. Don't think that I haven't before. You stay the fuck away from us, Porum snarls. You stumble back in fear, your hands held up in surrender. Mother, what are you? Kanaya tries to protest, but her mother pushes her back behind her. Please, I'd never hurt Kanaya. She's my friend, you tell her. Out! Porum roars and vaults the kitchen counter. Okay, I'll go. I'm sorry, you yelp and scramble out the front door. You realize right away that while you've still got your bag on you, you left your coat in Kanaya's house. You're sure as shit not going back in there to get it after that. You hurry back to campus and towards your dorms, not keen on sticking around close to a woman who wants to kill you. She's obviously met angels before and not like them one bit. You can't say you blame her. You walk quickly, your arms wrapped around yourself to ward off the cold in a vain attempt to make you feel better. As soon as you've shut your your room door, you pull your sweater off and march into your room. There's a mirror on your wardrobe, and it takes only a second to shake your wings out, though there's barely room for them in here. You stare at your reflection, at your wings, at what you are. Fuck, you need to talk to someone else about this. Without much hesitation, you dial up Rose, needing to hear a friendly voice. You think Dave will just try to distract you and cheer you up, and Solix might help, but you feel a little too fragile to handle anything he might throw at you now. So, Rose. Hello? Rose says as she picks up. Can I talk to you? You ask her weakly. Ordinarily, I would point out that you already are and thus have answered your own question, but you sound upset, so I'd rather ask if you're okay. Did something happen? Rose asks. I was hanging out with Kanaya and her mom showed up. We went back to Kanaya's place, and her mom worked out what I am, and she lost it on me. Threatened to kill me, you say in a small voice. Holy shit, Rose whispers. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It seems pretty much all of my species suck, and she's obviously had some experience there, you mumble. You probably ruined her whole trip to see Kanaya. That's absolute shit, Carcat. Just because someone's had a bad experience with someone of one species before, that doesn't mean it's fair to judge everyone that way, especially to the extent of threatening to kill them. If she had politely asked you to leave, that would be unfair, but at least reasonable, if she'd needed time to process things and talk to you sensibly later. Trying to kill you is an entirely different matter, Rose insists. You look down at your free hand and see that it's stained red from the wine. What if it is fair, though? What if I was as bad as everyone else before then? You say, and your wings curl around you protectively. Not that it really helps given how much you dislike the things right now. We've been over this before. Solix wouldn't have had anything to do with you if that was the case. Besides which, the records of you in Jade's grandpa's library show that you helped people. I don't think that you've ever been evil. I really don't, Rose reminds you. If Kanaya's mom had a bad experience, she'll probably tell Kanaya about it and about me. Lost a friend, you say miserably. You work with her too. That'll be awful if she hates you now. If that's the case, then I want absolutely nothing to do with her, and I will have some very choice words for her the moment I get back, Rose says, her voice steely and determined. Don't do that. You like her so much. You sniff. You flick your wings about until you can lay face down in your bed with one wing tucked tight to your side, and the other draping down onto the floor. If she reacts poorly to your species, then she's not who I thought she was at all, or someone that I'd want to date. So, there, Rose tells you. You don't really know what to say to that, so you just make an affirmative noise to show you heard. Besides, Rose says in a softer tone, people can't talk about what you are to people who don't already know. Remember that? Mom and Solix could talk about it because she worked it out, and he knew it, but if Kanaya doesn't already know, then there's no way she can tell her anyway. Alright, but what if she's able to explain enough so Kanaya can guess? Or what if the specifics of the spell don't cover vampires? We don't know the details. You hesitate. Just want to catastrophicize? Rose says sweetly. I'm not catastrophizing. I think that's how you say it. These are very real concerns. You bite the words out and glare at the space Rose would be if she was in here, which she isn't. Do you want my advice? Rose asks. Please? Stay away from Kanaya for a bit. Let her reach out to you. As someone whose mother has attacked people in her home before, I always reached out to people afterwards to apologize. My mother is somewhat of an exceptional case, but it's still good manners to apologize for things like that and explain. She should talk to you. And let's say that she does somehow know what you are because her mother worked it out. Then you might need to leave her time to think about it, so you'd also benefit from giving her space then. Rose says, What if she thinks that I'm avoiding her? You ask. You are. Look, you will see her again. You're just letting things cool down and allowing her to come to you with the proverbial olive branch. In the meantime, you can focus on doing other things. I'm sure you have work still to do for classes, and you mentioned your not date with that friend of yours. You can do all of that. Be too busy to worry, she advises you. I'm not sure I have ever been too busy to worry, but I take your point, you say reluctantly. Good. Do that. There is nothing wrong with you as a person or because of what species you are, and I will personally hex anyone who says otherwise, Rose says. You don't know any real hexes yet. That zappy thing you do with your needles is about it, and I don't think that's technically a hex, you say with a frown. There's a silence down on the phone, and you can feel the knowing smile on Rose's face. I don't want to know what malicious magics you know, do I? You ask in horror. The less you know, the less ignorance you have to fake when you're giving me an alibi, Rose says sweetly. God help you if she's right. Fair, you say, and wonder how your life came to this. Well, now that that's all sorted, I'm afraid I have to go. Do call me if anything else happens, Rose says, moving on in a businesslike fashion. I will. Thanks for talking to me, Rose. I do actually feel a lot better, and I have renewed my fear of ever crossing you. You laugh. It feels good to smile again. It really does. All is as it should be. Good night, Carcat, she says cheerily. Night, you say back, and hear her hang up. You try to do as Rose said. You study up, and after a few hours, you're able to sketch out a preliminary spell for continuously identifying an object, or rather, the contents of an object. You figure out you can attach it to a mug in your cupboard, the idea being that it'll identify if something is water, air, or other. You're pretty sure you'll need to set a certain limit on identifying things because you don't want the spell freaking out because there's a tiny bit of fluoride in the water or whatever. You just need to work out what to power it with to have it to work all the time. The more you work on it, the more it occurs to you that you could easily fulfill that this could easily fulfill the criteria of your alchemy homework too. So you shoot the professor an email and ask if he'd accept your project as kind of a joint venture. After that, you deem that quite enough work and settle down to watch some mindless Netflix baking show. As you sit there, the contestants fail to recreate the works they've been challenged to, and thinking that the odds are pretty stacked against them, you can't help but fidget. You're itchy. Not on any part of your skin, but it feels like your being is itchy. Out of sheer exasperation, you take your shirt off and sit on the back of the sofa. You unfurl your wings and find that they are the things that itch. You suppose that you laying down like you did before, and perhaps flying here before ruffled your feathers or something. The end result is you sitting on the back of the sofa, absently combing through your wings with your feathers as best as you can, and watching Netflix baking shows. When you work one of your longer feathers loose, the sheer relief can only be rivaled by finally cracking an ache out of your back after 8 hours of straight studying, or the hottest shower after being caught in the freezing rain. The thing is huge, too, easily the length of your hand and forearm. Hey, Rose, do you want a giant feather? I've just shed one. It's huge. Oh, how huge are we talking? Longer than my forearm. I am entirely interested in having that. Could you put it in my room? Sure. Thank you. You floof and unfloof your wings, finally feeling settled. With care, you fold them away and hop onto your sofa. You ease the door to Rose's room open and carefully set the massive feather on her desk. There's a bunch more on the floor behind the sofa, mostly smaller ones, but you collect them all with care. You'd rather that everyone didn't know what you were, and after a little deliberation, you go to the bathroom and carefully summon fire into your hands to burn them, this time making sure to do it quick enough and close enough to the window that the smoke detectors don't go off. The next day brings no message from Kanaya, no requests to talk or meet up, nothing. You don't really have the heart or perhaps the gut to go to the library and see what's going on. Besides, you said you'd stay away and you'd hate to find Porum guarding the place ready to stab you if you'd show it up. Of course, you can still do library work, and you find yourself settling in to do some of the transcription work of Roxy's experiments. They all begin pretty similarly, with Roxy outlining how the circle was to protect her and hold the demon there long enough to lay out how things worked. She asks for consent from the people she recruits into her research, and takes pains to protect both herself and the demons she speaks to. You record several failed tests where Roxy summons someone, they decline to participate, and she simply thanks them for their time and sends them back to where they were before. The demon she speaks to seems surprised at Roxy's thoughtful professionalism. Moving on, you start to transcribe the first encounter in what seems to be a successful series of the session. This first one is listed as 15.1, and you're able to transcribe Roxy's initial spiel almost in real time, as you're so familiar with it by now. The demon she summoned this time has long tapered horns and hair swept over half of his face, and the rest of it seemingly in a knot or clip behind his head. He's wearing a shiny black shirt and a teal silk waistcoat, as well as pinstriped pressed slacks. You're starting to get familiar enough with demons by now that you suspect that this one is involved in the legal system somehow. You've taken to writing down the physical details of the demons and the actions they take, so that if this was being read by someone who is blind or partially sighted, then they wouldn't miss anything. The demon leans close to the edge of the circle and narrows his eyes at Roxy. "You're that human that I've heard rumors about," he says slowly. "You've heard of me?" Roxy asks in surprise. "I'm very well connected and well informed. I'm sure you have plenty of questions for someone like me, but alas, I do not work for free, and I'm a very busy and very important man," the demon says snootily. "Oh, really?" Roxy says, sounding unconvinced. "Really, if you do me a favor, payment up front if you will, then I will tell you something interesting about him. Isn't that the kind of information you're looking for?" The demon grins and points down to the floor. "What sort of favor are we talking about?" Roxy asks suspiciously. "I'm currently working on a case and am due to appear in court soon, in 24 hours exactly from your time. Naturally, I am busy preparing for said case, so really you're quite inconveniencing me by bringing me up here. However, if you were to wait 24 hours and summon the opposing legislacerator when we're in court, then I would be more than happy to speak to you if you summoned me back the next day," he says smoothly. "I think I can manage that. All you need to do is give me your name and their name, and you've got yourself a deal." Roxy smiles. The demon hesitates. "I can't summon someone specifically without their name, or a sample from their body," Roxy adds. "I suppose," the demon mutters. Roxy waits patiently. She has nothing to lose here, and it's clear that the demon is the one wanting her help. "My name is..." Tagora, is it Gorik? Gorik? I know this from Hive Swap. My opponent's name is Tirona Kasund, he says, and Roxy is hurriedly writing that down. Tagora, oh, it says in the next thing. Tagora Gorjek and Tirona Kasund, 24 hours from now on this plane. All right, if you press your hand to the edge of the circle on your side and state the deal when I've agreed, I'll do the same on my side, and it'll be like a real handshake, Roxy explains, gesturing to the places on the floor with her pen. Tagora nods and crouches down, his hand pressed to the floor. When he speaks, his tone thrums with magic. Gorjek, I, Tagora Gorjek, will provide one piece of information to... He pauses. Roxy Lalonde, she adds quickly. To Roxy Lalonde about the ruler of hell that, as far as I know, is not known by humans. I will do this under the condition that Roxy Lalonde summons Tirona Kasund from hell to Earth 24 hours from now exactly, on Earth time for as long as she reasonably can. During this time, Roxy Lalonde will also not disclose this deal to Tirona Kasund during this meeting through any method of communication, either verbal or nonverbal, nor may she be allowed anyone else to do so. After 24 hours of Earth time have passed from summoning Tirona Kasund, then Roxy Lalonde may summon me back, and I will be compelled to fulfill my part of this deal, Tagora says. You watch as Roxy pauses and very clearly thinks over the terms of the deal, but in the end she reaches over and presses her hand to the edge of the circle on her hand. One piece of factually true information that other demons would regard as true if they heard it, Roxy amends. Clever. Fine. Tagora amends the deal and repeats the whole thing again for her. Roxy considers it for a moment longer. I agree, she says, and teal writing snaps around her wrists. Well then, until next time, Tagora smiles at her and then vanishes. You could move on to the next tape that you have stored, which you'll bet is Roxy summoning Tirona Kasund, but you're more interested in tape 15.2, which would be her next meeting with Tagora. Fuck it, you're doing this work for free. You're going to indulge yourself. You put the next tape on and, again, run through Roxy's summoning process. Tagora appears in the middle of the circle with a slasher smile on his face that runs nearly from ear to ear. Roxy seems unintimidated. I did my part. How did the trial go? She asks. Fantastically. She always cheats so terribly, and I won anyway. Tagora cackles. So I believe that you have information for me, Roxy says smoothly. Tagora leans as close to the edge of the circle as he can, his tails curling behind him in the air with body language that you've learned from Solux to indicate a certain degree of self-satisfaction. It's the way his tails curl and uncurl in the air when he's practically pleased with himself, and usually about to do something deeply irritating to you. You know, you really have something. This whole spell is the tightest and most well thought out I've seen, and other people I know who've heard of you have nothing bad to say about you. You're smart. I like that. Tagora smiles. Thank you very much, Roxy beams. So, Tagora says and floats back in the circle so he's sitting in the air. Tell me what you want to know about management down there so I have a base for, or tell me what you know. Tell me what you know about management down there so I have a base for where to start. Well, obviously, certain retellings change the details, and without a doubt, there are biased sources, but essentially the story goes that God created everything, including angels, and a very powerful angel called Lucifer rebelled in some capacity and was cast out for it. This resulted in demons, hell, etc., and then mortal sin happened because of him, and so on, Roxy explains. For a start, Lucifer isn't a name for him as such, it's more of a description or nickname. You see, there's a star, Tagora begins, yes, for Venus, tending to wander and seemingly fall, so it became associated with a fall from the heavens. Roxy interrupts with the air of someone used to putting her hand up instantly in school as a kid. It's very endearing. Very good. It'd be like referring to you as curly or something, Tagora explains and gestures at the very neat spiral of hair that Roxy has at her temple. Dave has exactly the same one. Anyway, you're not entirely wrong. He wasn't made by that deity exactly. More, they're two parts of the same thing, but separate people. He tried overthrowing. It went badly. The details are somewhat lost to history. He ended up ruling hell. Original sin isn't too far off, I suppose, but this is all way, way before my time, so I only know what I've been taught. He goes on. And that can be dubious, Roxy agrees. Of course, this creation myth happened, and it's all true, but so are all other faiths. Tagora goes on. Yes, the superposition of faith, I'm aware. All creation stories and legends about gods are true and can be considered to have happened in fractured realities leading to this one. Many tributaries feeding the same river. I know, I'm not a first year. Roxy huffs. Very well then. So, here's the thing that you don't know. The powers that exist up there, on the other side of the coin, decided to take our erstwhile ruler out. His influence was chaotic, petulant, unpredictable. They made an angel, forged like a blade purely to destroy, and they sent him down. They fought, and the angel won, killing the ruler of hell, Tagora says, his eyes sparkling. What? Roxy breathes. The thing is, hell has to have a ruler. We have a hierarchy, just as much as angels do. With no unholy leader, someone had to step in. The angel looked around and decided that hell was not just bad, but it was inefficient, and why should he serve those who only used him as a tool? He was going to rule instead. The ruler of hell that exists now is not Lucifer of your legends, and he's no angel now. He took the title, and he's a god. He reformed us, broke down stupid rules, and set us up to win, Tagora says in a tone that's almost reverent. What's his name? Roxy breathes. Talented though you are, I wouldn't bet that you could handle hearing his name. Your pseudonyms and epithets will have to do. But here's my advice to you, Roxy Lalonde. Stop doing these experiments, because I managed to hear about you. If he does, then nothing can save you, Tagora warns her. Roxy doesn't seem to know what to say, and with that, Tagora vanishes. Roxy stands there for a moment, and then cuts the tape. You lean back in your chair in amazement. Why have you never heard this before? Shifting out of your word processor, you open up Google and search, though what you search for eludes you for a moment. Eventually, you just end up on Wikipedia page for the devil. The information you skim is all stuff you absorbed by cultural osmosis. You eventually just use the find function on the word Lond. Other theories suggest that the devil may be more of an occupational title, akin to a monarch, that the current devil may not be the original one. This theory was advanced by Dr. Lalonde. However, no one else has been able to verify this information. You wonder why that'd be. I guess no one else calls up demons regularly to quiz them on this stuff. Solix, I have a question. Are demons prohibited from talking to mortals about certain things? Sure. I'm just reading Roxy's research is all, going over her interviews. That would be one of the reasons those existed. Past tense? What of it? Is that rule in place now, or are the deities being gone lifted that, or something else? Yes. I should have been more specific. Yes. Have you ever met him? The devil, I mean? I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Sorry. Whatever. That didn't go well. You're really on a roll for upsetting people lately, aren't you? Good job. You sigh and put your phone down. Erden will be here in a few hours, so you should go out and buy snacks since he was nice enough to provide them when you went to his place. You grab your shoes, coat, bag, and then plug in your headphones so you can leave. Surely Solix must have known the devil, given what you know about his status, but then you also know that he didn't have a great time down there, so maybe you should have just not brought it up at all. Obviously, you shouldn't have brought it up, stupid. You hesitate about to select some music. Maybe you should just... Sorry, I shouldn't have said any of that. I didn't mean to be a tactless idiot. You're always a tactless idiot. That's true, but I'd rather not be. Are we still okay? Okay. I'm fantastic, and you're a loser. Neither of us is okay. I mean, have I ruined everything between us by bringing up something stupid? KK, if I broke up with you every time you stuck your foot in your mouth, then I'd never get anywhere with you. That's not super reassuring. The same may or may not go the other way around. I refuse to comment. Are you done fussing now? Am I ever? But I'm good for now, I guess. Good. I hate you, you know. Oh. Romantically speaking. Oh my fuck, shut up, you're ruining it. I hate you too. Little spades emoji. Oh, what does that mean? What? This, spades emoji. It's a spade. For hate, you know, diamond club, spade, heart. Oh, like card suits, like on the book of porn that you stole from me. Acquired. I acquired it from you. Spade is the hate one. Right. Well, I hate you too then, Spade. You're monumentally embarrassing to know. I hate you too. Now get lost. You feel at least a little better now, and you find yourself smiling as you hit play on your go-to playlist and head out in the hunt for snacks. With the anxiety of someone who's never had a friend over, you end up buying a little too much food. So what? The worst case scenario is that you have lots left over, and you can eat more next time. Or the actual worst case scenario, and Eridan suddenly decides he wants nothing to do with you, then fuck it, you have snacks to make you feel better. You're the best at planning. It is you. Airden shoots you a message, and when he gets to your building, his car doesn't let him in because he doesn't live here. You hurry down and let him in. You have to laugh because he's comically bundled up in his scarf, even wearing it draped over his head to protect his hair. Bad weather, you laugh, and step aside to let him in. So funny, Airden grumbles and steps inside. He pulls his scarf off of his head and meticulously combs through his hair. Come on, you grin and lead him up to your floor. So, which movie are we watching this time? He asks, still fiddling with the purple section of his hair. Home Alone, the first one, you tell him, and head up another flight of stairs. And this one is a movie about Christmas? He asks. You lean on the door to your floor and open it. It happens at Christmas, and there's a Christmas moral to the story. Maybe. You hedge. Airden looks wildly unconvinced. Just come watch the movie, you insist, and walk down to your door. You didn't bother to lock it since you only went down to the bottom of the building. You step inside and hold the door open for him. The pair of you settle in for the movie, which is not so much about the true meaning of Christmas and more about a small boy who has easily killed these home invaders several times. There's no way that's not fatal, Airden says, his eyebrows climbing high above his hipster glasses as he watches the poor man on screen take a paint can to the face. I saw videos online once where they recreated this stuff with ballistics gel and bones. It's absolutely fatal. You agree, and reach your hand over for the M&Ms. You've slouched down sideways on the sofa because good posture is for people who aren't you. But then again, Airden is also stretched out with his feet on the coffee table. Theory, Harry and Marv have gone to hell for robbery, and this is their punishment. Endlessly robbing a house protected by this psychopath, Airden suggests. I don't know if that's how hell works, but I like the theory enough to approve of it anyway. It explains why this stuff doesn't kill them. What about the family, though? You ask, looking at him. Airden frowns at the screen and then glances down at you, his expression softening a little. They abandoned their kid, child endangerment. To hell you go, he says with confidence. Maybe the pizza guy did nothing wrong, though. Oh, unless the pizza guy is a psychopomp, delivering them to hell without them realizing it, you suggest eagerly. Airden nods, approving your theory. On screen, the perpetual torment continues, and Airden looks at his hands with a frown. He shoves half a handful of M&Ms in his mouth and sighs at his sticky and stained palms. I need to wash this off, he says, showing them to you. Right, bathroom's that way. We only got dish soap in the kitchen. Bathroom has the good soap, you tell him, waving a hand in that vague direction. Thanks, he says and gets up. You stretch out and grab your drink from the table and take a chance to pause the movie while you're at it. You hear the door open behind you and take a look at your own hands. You don't have M&M colors melted onto your hands, but that's probably because when you pick them up, they go into your mouth immediately. Why do you have stuff in sofa cushions? Airden asks. Turning around, you see that he's opened the wrong door and is looking into your room instead of the bathroom. Oh, that's my room. Bathroom's there, you say, pointing to the right door. No, I guess that from the lack of any kind of bathroom facilities in this room. But why do you have bags of stuff on your floor? Is that a lamp in one? Airden asks. You hesitate and get up off the sofa. Crossing the distance, you join him at the door and look over Cancre's things. It's not my stuff. Well, it is, I suppose. It belonged to a relative, I guess. He's dead now, though, so I took his stuff. I was planning to donate it to shelters and things like that, but I've just not got to it yet, you explain. Airden looks around at you in shock. You said you didn't have family or remember anything, he says, still staring at you. I don't remember anything, but we found him. He had the same last name as me, and he looked just like me. He's dead now. I don't really want to talk about it. You cut that line of conversation off quick because you can feel the well of complicated emotions it just brings welling up inside of you. Oh, a car, it's okay, Airden says, and before you can do anything else, he pulls you into a slightly sticky and kind of awkward hug. Airden says awkwardly and gestures to the bathroom. Yeah, sure. You nod. He scurries into the bathroom and you shut your bedroom door once more, then return to the sofa. Even when Airden comes back, the mood is kind of lost. The pair of you watch the rest of the movie, but your mind is squarely on Cancre once again. It barely even registers when the movie ends, at least not until Airden turns to face you on the sofa and rests his hand on your shoulder. It seems like what happened to that guy, whoever he was to you, is weighing on you pretty heavily, he says sympathetically. I don't know, I guess. I've been trying not to think about it, you say and move. Airden's hand falls from your shoulder as you turn and tuck your feet up on the sofa and rest your back on the armrest. We can talk about it, he reminds you. You feel a little weird about the suggestion, and of all people, Rose pops into your mind. I know, but There really should be more to that sentence. A but implies that there would be some explanation that'd follow after, but you don't really have one. The idea of confiding something like that in him feels odd. You try to reason that it's because you're not that close yet. You think you might talk about Kenkri to Jade, but only to help her deal with her own loss. You wouldn't bring it up to your own ends. You'd hate to bring the mood down or make things about you even when you were just talking to June. You've spoken to Solix and Dave about Kenkri, but Solix has knowledge of how that shit works, and you're dating him and Dave, so that's no surprise. Of course, you've spoken to Rose about it, and you've talked to Rose about a lot of things, actually. It just feels different to Aridin asking you about it. You suppose he's not your pretend theoretical wife. You didn't hate for Rose to take you to imaginary divorce court. What, about your precious imaginary son, Viceroy Bubbles von Salamancer? I'm fine, really. You tell Aridin with a smile that feels only a little fake. You don't think he buys it. Hey, how about we do this tomorrow, too, at my place? I was looking up Christmas movies on that list you sent me, and Love Actually is supposed to be good. That might cheer you up, right? He suggests. Aw, shit, I love romantic comedies. They're my personal kryptonite. You gasp and Aridin beams. Well, I'll see you around tomorrow at mine's then. Aridin nods and flashes you a smile. He leaves, and you spend a little time clearing things up before getting your phone. How do I unsubscribe from feelings? Brain death. Although, I think the dead still feel things too. A coma, perhaps? Excuse me, I'll just be Googling how to put myself into a coma. What precisely is bothering you this much? Same shit, my maker, complicated feelings that I don't want. Then I think the best method is time and self-acceptance. Your relationship hardly seems like it was positive, and you deserve a positive relationship with people. Do I, though? Yes. Well, shit, that doesn't leave much room for me to argue about anything, does it? Rose has unilaterally ruled on the matter. I'm glad you recognize my authority. You don't need to repress your feelings either. I really do wish you weren't on your own for all of this, but you can contact any of us whenever you want. I know, I just don't want to bring people down. We would all rather you felt better, regardless of it bringing down the mood. The coma thing seems easier. No putting yourself into a coma. You're so demanding. I know. How do I live with myself? Fine, later. The next day, you're again left with a dead zone of time where you would have gone to the library, but you don't feel like you can. You're bored enough that you're willing to sit down and try to memorize your tarot card meanings, seeing as it's a medium that seems to work for you. You look at a card, trying to recall its meaning, and then check online to see if you're right or not. Eventually, out of sheer curiosity, you shuffle the deck and do a little reading, just with your future vaguely in mind. A little simple 3-card spread. Instead of past, present, future like you've done before, you pick a different set. A situation you're in or will shortly be in, / what you should do, / the outcome of it. Simple enough. You shuffle, deal 3 cards face down, and deal 3 cards face down, and set the rest of the deck aside. The first card is the situation. Justice reversed. Justice is about justice, obviously, so reversed, it's injustice. It feels weak. You cave and look at your online cheat sheet. Dishonesty, unaccountability, and unfairness. So does that mean you're going to be in a situation that is unjust or dishonest? Or you yourself will be those things? Alright, second card. What should you do? The moon, right way up. You're drawing a total blank on that meaning, but when you look it up, one word leaps out at you. Illusions. You've drawn the moon before, haven't you? And plus the whole thing that happened with the moon and that weird thing you read in Jake's diaries. You feel odd about that. You also don't see how that's meant to be an action that you can take unless it's telling you to hide. This rating doesn't make any sense. Third card, the outcome. The Wheel of Fortune, upside down. That seems bad. This one you remember from studying it earlier. The reversed reading is to do with control and the lack of it, or trying to cling to control. Bad luck and nothing you can do about it. You stare down at the cards on your desk as if this is their fault for bringing you bad news. You don't want to know this or deal with this, so you're going to the main room with your phone and just pretending it never happened. Shit, maybe you should study. You're still waiting on that email from your professor, so you don't want to work too much on this project, but you could try to read that book of yours again, if only there was some way to protect yourself from the influences of it. A fantastic idea hits you. It takes a little time, but you decide to FaceTime Dave when you're done. The call connects and you're treated to Dave's pretty face. Your heart stutters at the sight of him in a way that can't be healthy. He then immediately breaks down laughing. Oh, fuck, my face hurts from laughing. Why is your head covered in tinfoil? Dave asks through laughter. Shut up, I'm experimenting something. You snap at him. Is it a bold new fashion decision? Because I'm not sure the shiny head is working for you. Dave snickers. No, I'm trying to read a cursed book without it making me fall asleep. I'm trying to see if this protects me, you explain. You wrapped your head in tinfoil, poked eyes and nose and mouth holes, and you think that will keep magic out somehow? He giggles, covering his mouth as if that hides his amusement at your expense. It can't hurt. Look, just watch me, and if I fall asleep, yell at me, you tell him. All right, I'm screenshotting this, though. Dave warns you, and you see his hands reach out just to do that. You sigh, but this is your lot in life. Flicking the book open, you start to read again. You get about 2 lines in before you feel yourself keel forward onto the table. A car rumbles underneath you, engine purring. The leather of the car's seats is warm against your cheek, and slightly sticky with summer heat. You blink slow and sleepily as shafts of sodium yellow streetlights slide quickly over your face. When you open your eyes again, your eyes drift to Solix in the passenger seat in front. Carcat! Dave's voice. You jerk awake, and on your phone screen you see Dave breathe a sigh of relief. Shockingly, that didn't work. You grumble and rip the tinfoil off your head. Yeah, but you're a pretty cute tin man, Dave says with a grin. Har har, you say flatly, and toss the tinfoil ball across the room into the trash. Oh, you don't think that I think you're cute? Is that how it is? Dave challenges you. You're aware I can see myself in mirrors, right? You retort. Clearly, you need to get your eyes checked, because you are cute, he insists. No, you start. Nope, I'm gonna do a survey. Hold that thought, Dave says and picks his phone up. He starts walking and you hear a door open. Rose, I'm doing a survey. Is Carcat cute? Dave asks, and he flips the camera to show Rose sat on her bed knitting. Carcat is adorable, Rose says and stares dead into the camera. Okay, thanks, bye, Dave says in a way that just lets you hear the way he would have typed it out. He backs out of the room and goes down the hallway, opening another door. Solix is sat in front of a computer with a frown on his face. He doesn't look up when Dave comes in. Busy, he mumbles. Quick question. Is Carcat cute? Dave asks and holds the phone out towards him like it's a microphone in an interview, which gives you a stunning view of the floor and not much else. Until he opens his mouth and talks. Sure. Solix snorts. Hey, you protest, but Dave just laughs and leaves, taking your view with him. You made your point, you mutter, trying to hide half your face in your sweater. Dave turns the camera on himself and looks dead at you. So, you admit that you're cute? He asks you challengingly. Death first, you retort. You leave me no choice, Dave sighs and starts walking again. You hear him descend a set of stairs, and this time when he turns the camera view around, you can see his mom magically floating lights up on the wall. Mom, you remember Carcat. What's your verdict on his cuteness? Dave asks her, and you can only cover your mouth in horror. He's adorable. I could eat him with a spoon, she giggles. That's it. Your whole head is going in your sweater now. Only your hair is speaking out. You can hear Dave laughing and walking away, but you're not looking out. You're not. You know you're doing that halo thing again, Dave says softly, fondly. Your heart can't take this. Am I? You say, and pull your head free. In the small preview of yourself on the corner of your screen, it looks like you've suddenly got some intense backlighting going on in your head. It's freaking out the camera focus a little, actually. I think it's pretty cool that your whole magic angelic thing comes up when you get in a fuss about people caring about you, Dave says, and the expression on his face is, he is really into you. He cares and finds you attractive. You've no idea how or why. But you can't deny that these things are true. It doesn't feel entirely real. With Solux, maybe you can put some of your relationship with him down to the fact that he got involved with you that existed before the event. Maybe you were someone better and more competent then, and that person wooed him or whatever. But Dave didn't know you then. Somehow you, this version of you, managed to do something that got him to feel this for you. I wish you were here, you admit quietly. Man, I wish I was too. Dave agrees with a wary sigh. Yeah, but it's fine. You got your mom and people have families, you know? Besides, it's not as if I'm all by myself moping around in the dorm all the time. I'm watching a movie with a friend tonight, you tell him brightly. You don't want him to worry about you. The one from class? He asks curiously and sits back down in the desk chair again. Yeah, are you okay with that? You ask, worry suddenly stealing over you. Huh? Dave says. I mean, you hear about people getting mad about their boyfriends doing things with other people, especially people whose genders means they might be interested in them, you explain hastily. Yeah, but aren't you pansexual or whatever? Wouldn't that just mean you weren't allowed friends? Dave points out. You make an uncertain noise. You just like who you like. Dude, I trust you. When that whole thing with Solux happened, you sprinted your ass to my room to tell me about it, and the only reason that happened in the first place is because you were already dating the guy but didn't know it. I'm pretty sure you're not going on secret dates, Dave says firmly. Yeah, that's really not your intention here. You just want a friend. And if you give a shit about someone, then you don't get to tell them who they can and can't be around. Being all controlling, getting in people's phones, stalking them, or playing mind games, that's fucked up. Legitimately, the thought of someone doing that to me makes my blood run cold. I'm not going to do that to you either. Dave adds vehemently. You weren't even thinking about most of that, but you'd never demand that kind of control over his life either. Me neither, you agree, and Dave's shoulders drop a little as he relaxes. Well, then you can enjoy your movie thing without worrying about me having a freak out about it. No, I'm not about that, Dave says. I will, and you're really great, you know that? You say. Despite being canvassed his entire household on the topical question of your cuteness, Dave flushes red the moment you tell him that you think he's great. I mean, I know, I'm the great Dave Lalonde. I have so many fans, you know. Dave brags, despite the nervous laugh in the middle. Good, you deserve them, you tell him. Ah, Dave pushes his glasses up as he covers his face with his hand. Ha, how does he like it? And cute, you add, viciously pleased at his embarrassment. I have to go now for unrelated reasons. Love you, car cat. Bye, Dave says in a rush and hangs up. Did he just say that he loved you? You wonder if that was a slip, if he didn't mean to say it. He certainly hasn't called back to say anything about it, so maybe he should just let it go. Even with that decision in mind, your boyfriend is still occupying your thoughts that evening when you put your thickest coat on and leave for Eridan's apartment. You have to keep yourself in check so you don't suddenly start walking around with a halo in public. You figure that you must look normal because when you arrive at Eridan's place, he doesn't yell about your head glowing. So, good job, you. Come on in, Eridan smiles. Thanks, it's getting really cold out there, you say with a shiver, and hang your coat up on the rack by the door. I don't know, I kind of like the cold. Eridan shrugs and shuts the front door. You only say that because of your affinity for scarves, you say teasingly. You're right, and I hate that, he mutters, making you laugh. You and Eridan start to watch Love Actually. It's actually been a while since you saw it, and you've kind of forgotten parts of it. Like the one guy showing up with those signs to his friend's wife. Yeesh. The story with the kids is cute, though. I think I saw this the first year after the event, by myself, obviously. You add that part a little sourly and drink some of your Fanta to chase the taste away. I bet it's better with company, Eridan says. He's not wrong. For sure, you agree. Were you really lonely down here on your own? Eridan asks, and his hand covers yours on the sofa. You pull your hand back and sit up a little straighter, hoping that you play it off as just fidgeting. That felt weird. Well, yeah, but I'm here now and I've got people, so it's good. I'm sure it was the same for you, right? You laugh uneasily. Sure, you know you can talk to me about this stuff, though, right? He adds, and leans over a little. You turn your head to look at him and see that he's leaning towards you. You have a split second of realizing that he's going to kiss you before you flail and, in your attempt to get away, manage to fall off the sofa onto the floor with a graceless thump. Eridan looks down at you, clearly alarmed. Are you okay? He asks. I'm fine, you blurt out and scramble to your feet. You don't seem fine at all, he points out. He's not wrong, but he's also reaching for you again. Oh, nope, not happening. Listen, Eridan, this wasn't meant to be... You try and think of a way to put it, but you can't help but think that Rose was right, and she's going to be smug about it. It's not that I don't like you, but this wasn't meant to be a romantic date or anything. I just thought that, well, it's a Christmas movie, and you really wish the couple on screen weren't kissing at this very moment. You see Eridan look at the screen and then look at you, rolling his eyes. I'm not trying to get in your pants, he says flatly. He just tried to kiss you. What else are you supposed to think? I'm actually spoken for twice. I have 2 boyfriends, you insist. God, this is excruciatingly awkward. Uh-huh, Eridan says, clearly not believing you at all. I do, and I don't think Dave or Solux would be cool with this, and I'm not cool with this, so I'm just gonna leave, you tell him. You move and grab your laptop, which was streaming the movie to his TV, shutting it quickly and putting it into your bag. You need to leave now, preferably while Eridan is still staring at you in silent shock. You're halfway to the door when he leaps back off the sofa and grabs you by the arm. You can't date. I don't believe this. He splutters indignantly. Eridan, let go, you say and try to pull your arm free. Unholy. It's not right, he shouts. Hey, you snap at him furiously. The sound bounces around the room and his TV shatters. You don't give a single fuck. I'm sorry, I don't feel the same way, but if you even think of pulling any anti-demon shit on me, then not only will we not be dating, we won't be friends either, you hiss at him, pointing your finger right in his face. Eridan is too stunned to form words, so you just push him away from you sharply and storm out of his apartment. You slam the door in a way that's deeply satisfying, and you're about 10 steps out of the building before you realize that you left your coat up there. You're sure as shit not going back, so you're just going to have to walk home, angry, letting the rage warm up inside of you. It's not even fair. There's so many things that someone could say about Solix that would be a genuine objection to anyone of good taste dating him. He's annoying. He's a bad student. He spends an inordinate amount of time deliberately antagonizing people, or at least antagonizing you. He has a horrible dress sense, a fixation with a number. Any of these would be good criticisms. If Aridin had said, "You're dating Solux, that demon whose wardrobe makes it look like he walked into the middle of a red versus blue team paintball match," then that would be fair. You'd actually resent that because you do hate him and still find him attractive despite that, and then hate him for it. Jesus, this is complicated. The point is that throwing Solux's species out as a reason to not care about him is so much bullshit. You really thought Aridin was better than that. You're livid that he'd say that, and you apparently had such poor judgment. Carcat, Aridin's voice makes you pause. You turn around. It's getting cold and late. It's not raining, but you can feel the threat of it in the air, so it's just you, him, and some guy at a bus stop across the street. Other than that, the road is deserted. "Leave me alone," you tell Aridin, even as he jogs over to you. "You don't know what you're doing, being involved with," he starts again. "I'm not listening," you groan, taking a turn to walk off again. "I'm on your side," Aridin insists. He grabs you again and turns you around to look at him. Only he suddenly shifts. His body lifts off the ground and 3 sets of wings unfold. An impossible light glitters and shimmers around him, warping the air and what you can see behind it like distorted images through water. His head glows in a perfectly round purple halo. You stagger back and summon your weapon from wherever it goes. Across the street, a scream attracts your attention. The man at the bus stop is staring at Aridin and screaming. He scrabbles at his face and you break into a sprint, trying to get to him before he blinds himself. You grab the screaming man's hands and pull them from his face with one hand, and with your other you pull his face into your shoulder. "Stop that!" you hiss at Aridin. In your arms, the man thrashes and struggles, shouting incoherent nonsense. "You said you forgot what..." Aridin starts to say, but you can hear the way his voice has impossible tones in it. The man in your arms wails in agony. Stop talking! Go back to how you were! You're hurting him!" You snarl. Aridin blinks at you and seems utterly baffled. His wings fold away and his halo fades and he looks normal again. "He's just some human, Car. Listen, you need to come back with me. Don't go back to your dorm," Aridin pleads. "Get the fuck away from me. I don't want anything to do with you," you hiss, resummoning your sickle into your hand you have around the man's back and raising it to threaten Aridin. "You know what? Fine. Fuck you, Car. I'm not even sorry now," Aridin snaps, but you can hear how his voice wobbles and his eyes fill with tears. You can't bring yourself to feel any sympathy for Aridin, given that you're holding an anguished man that Aridin hurt and clearly couldn't care less about. He storms off tearfully, leaving you alone with the man. You get rid of your weapon and go back to consoling the poor bystander. You hold him to your chest on the otherwise deserted street and call for an ambulance. You fudge the details, saying that he seemed to have a mental break out of nowhere and started crying. You give your location and wait for them to arrive. "I'm sorry about him. I'm sorry you were here," you tell the man gently. "Maybe if you try reassuring it might reach him." "You didn't deserve that guy just showing up and messing with your mind like that," you tell him and squeeze his shoulder. He's still crying so hard. "Don't be afraid," you whisper. Should he be afraid? You're still here. You're the same species that did this to him. But you don't want to hurt him. You want to help. You feel terrible that he got caught in the crossfire of this whole disaster. You tell him not to be afraid again. You wonder if Aridin knew before all of this. Were you like him in the past? Uncaring about casualties like this man? Fuck, you hope not. The stranger shudders in your arms, his words still nonsense. Will he get better from this? You really hope he does. He's so hurt and it hurts you to see it. A sting deep inside your chest makes your eyes water. You probably look absurd, this man having a mental breakdown in the street, and you holding him crying as well. Tears drip from your chin onto the man in your arms, and he starts to calm down. He's still shaking all over and terrified when the ambulance shows up and takes him away, but it still seems more like he's in shock, not trying to claw his own eyes out anymore at least. Fuck, poor guy. You shudder in the cold. You feel now that your insides must be as cold as your outsides. You certainly feel hollow enough for that to be true. You let yourself into the building, shouldering the door open when the lock buzzes at your card swipe. As you travel up the staircase, your legs feel heavy with tiredness and regret. Aridin must have lied to you about not remembering anything, which means that he must have tracked you down. You tried to think why he did that. The answer can't be anything good. Shit, you should probably tell Solix about this. Angels fucking about on Earth is very Angels fucking about down on Earth is in the very school that you go to is almost certainly going to be alarming to him. You pull your phone out and then swap hands so you can pull your key out. You reach your door and push your key inside. Only as you push, the door swings open. Did you not shut or lock this right? All the thoughts of possible burglary flee from your mind as you see several police officers in your dorm room. What's going on? You ask, For a stupid moment, you worry that there's something that happened with Rose, but she's not here. Before you can get out a smarter question, several police officers tackle you to the ground and wrench you onto your stomach. You're too stunned to react, and cold metal cuffs are snapped around your wrists before you can do anything about it. They're reading you your rights, but they're not telling you why they're arresting you, and you know better than to say anything. They pull your key ring from your finger, your phone charm from your wrist, and pick your bag up from the floor. Two burly men heave you to your feet and all but carry you to the police car. They throw you in the back and slam the door. What the fuck? You didn't do anything wrong. Is this Ayrton's doing? Shit. You need a lawyer. Thankfully, you have one, and she's a real dragon. The back of the police car is uncomfortable, and the two men in the front seem visibly angry at your presence. You tell yourself that you just need to hold tight until someone talks to you and then ask for your lawyer. Tracy has your phone, and you know your old number off by heart. You can rattle that off to them, and they can contact her. When you arrive, they take your picture, fill in some forms, and throw you in a single-person cell. The cell has that aged magnolia paint on the walls, a steel toilet with a little sink basin on the top of it, and a metal bed that sticks out from the wall as a solid sheet. Atop the bed is a plastic-like foam mattress that reminds you more of the landing pad things you used to get in gym class than anything that could be called a bed. It squeaks when you sit on it. Aside from the bed, the toilet, and the sink thing, the door is the only remaining feature in the room. It is a solid plate of metal with only a small and sealed rectangle for someone to look through. Beyond that, room is endlessly blank and so small that the short bed is the whole width of the room. The room isn't even a perfect square. You're hardly tall, but you couldn't lay on the floor with your feet against the door without hitting your head on the wall under the bed. At least they uncuffed you before they shoved you in here. Warily, you look at your arm, and your deal with Solux glows softly under your skin. You could use it to bring him to you, but you know you did nothing wrong, and if you escape from the cell, you'll definitely be in trouble. Not that you need Solux to help you. You've proven that you can magically get through doors as long as you don't care about the state of them when they're open. That course of action seems likely to not end that well for you. At the very least, it's a crime. No, better to wait and get Terezi to help you. You can only be afraid and confused for so long. Eventually those feelings sublimate to anger. How dare these people just break into your dorm room without warrant and arrest you without so much as telling you what for? You're going to tear them a new one for this. In fact, maybe you can sue them. Maybe Terezi will do that for you, or one of the demon legislators like Red Glare. You're a champion at holding on to anger, but eventually it gets late enough and far enough into the next morning that you're starting to feel exhausted. They've not turned the lights out or anything. It's horribly bright, but you're sure it's much later. Just as you're on the edge of sleep, the door is jerked open to reveal two officers. You can't remember if they're... if they're different ones or not, but they cuff you without as much of a word and drag you off elsewhere. Elsewhere turns out to be an interrogation room, where your cuffs are transferred to a table. Before you is a police officer in a crisp white shirt, and behind her is one of those mirrors that people can look through. Above it is a clock that tells you it's 4 a.m. Carcat Vantis, the woman says with a cold tone. She has her brown hair pulled back in a tight bun that makes her whole face look sharp and severe. Yes, I want my lawyer. I can give you the number. You tell her. The officer stares at you with ice blue eyes and clicks a pen. You read the number out to her and she notes it down. You are a student at Salem University, yes? She asks. I'm not answering anything until I get my lawyer here. You tell her. She stares at you, her eyes narrowing in obvious loathing. The officer makes no attempt to call Terezi. She doesn't even leave or get anyone else in to pass the job on. She just asks you questions about your life, about why you came here, about your magic, about what you remember. You answer none of these. In your head, you count backwards from 100 and then up again. You're at 58 when she jars you out a bit. We know you killed Cancri Vantis. She snaps. Your eyes go wide. How does she know about Cancri? How does she know that he's dead? There's no body, unless they think that he died in a fire, but that can't be right because you'd still find a body there if he was human. Or you suppose that the arson was a crime, but they can't prove that you did it. You stay silent. Her questions turn mean, speculating about why you killed Cancri, about his views and what yours might be. She insults what she thinks your worldview is, makes a jab at a sexuality that you don't belong to. You refuse to act. It passes 5 a.m. and she sends you back to the holding cell they had you in. You only get an hour's sleep because you're back there at 6:30. The woman is there again. Not that you got her name, but there's a man too. The man is tall. His hair is slicked back and shiny. He's smoking, which you're fairly sure you're not allowed to do in here anymore. As you're made to sit, you are cuffed once again to the table, and you tell them the same thing you've said before. I want my lawyer, you insist. We called. He said he doesn't want anything to do with you. The man sneers at you around his cigarette. You look at his face, features that you don't know, but they're sure as shit familiar, even with 2 scars running over them. My lawyer's a woman. You look like Aridin, you say flatly. The obvious irritation at being caught in a lie flashes over the man's face, and you lean back in your seat a little. Your eyes drift to the obviously furious policewoman at his side. This feels like some big show with all the officers unknowing actors. You're the same thing I am, you conclude. I am better than what you are, thank you very much. He snaps and jabs his cigarette at your face. You have no idea, or you know I have no idea who the fuck you are, right? You say. You're not inclined to be polite to someone who arranged your kidnapping. Cronus Ampora. King Crevantus was my Moirail, and I know he's dead, and I know you know what happened. I was there when you were made. I saw how much better Cancri became when he took everything that makes you up out of him, and I tried to help him make you better, but no. Cronus sneers. At his side, the officer has a slightly glazed look, as if she didn't hear any of what was just said. How are you doing that? You ask, gesturing to her as much as you can with your restrained hands. Well, I try to teach you, but aside from what you needed to know to hide yourself, you refuse to learn. If Cancri could see you now, well, he probably wouldn't be surprised. You were always a disappointment, Cronus says coldly. Right. And you want to know what happened to him, you say. Yes, Cronus hisses at you. You look around at the interrogation room, at the bewitched officer, and at him again. Why are we doing this here and not? You trail off and point a finger towards the ceiling. Tell me what happened to Cancri, he says, not answering your question. You stay silent and think. Demons are on Earth because hell is frozen over. Is the same true for angels? You came all the way down to Earth just to ask me that? You ask him leadingly. Yes, and you will tell me, Cronus snarls, banging his fist on the table. Nope, heaven still works. He came down here, which very much implies that there is a functional up there to come down from. So he's doing this down here for a reason. You remember what Matuna said about how bureaucratic angels were, how slow they were to decide anything. Coming down here on a whim to yell at your boyfriend's whatever you were, Cancri, doesn't seem like the kind of thing that fits that pattern. You're not supposed to be down here doing this, are you? That's why Aridin got close to me first, right? He must be to you what I was to Cancri. You're doing this illegally. You can't take me up there because you'd get in trouble too, right? You ask, more and more sure with every word. You will tell me. I don't have to take you back to heaven to shove you in a featureless void that'll have you begging for you to be let out. The only way you're getting out of here is by telling me what happened, what you did. Cronus threatens you. Something tells you that you're not getting out of this. If you tell him everything that happened honestly, then you can't seriously think that he'll let you go back to your life. You can't think he won't try to kill Solux for his part in burning down Kincri's house. He'll kill you, or make you fall. Maybe he'll just leave you in nothingness. Those bad consequences are going to happen, whether you tell him or not, so you may as well protect everyone and keep the bad shit to yourself. You straighten up and look across the table at the other angel. In the mirror behind him, you catch sight of your eyes glowing featureless white and the near blinding glow behind your head. Cronus, go fuck yourself. I'm not telling you shit. You tell him without room for argument or doubt. He's livid. Of course he is. He uncuffs you just so he can pick you up and shake you, but that doesn't deter you. Instead, he drags you by the back of your shirt to the holding cell. When he wrenches the door open, there's nothing on the other side. Endless white nothing in every direction, and your mind fills with horror, recoiling at the featureless wasteland before you. It feels horribly familiar, and you're going to get all the more familiar with it. Cronus tosses you inside and slams the door shut behind you with a clang. You turn, and there's nothing there. No door. Nothing. As far as the eye can see, total nothingness in every direction. Well, fuck. Chapter end. Chapter over. Chapter over. Oh boy. Well, fucking indeed. Ooh. Chapter end, yippee. Yeah. Yeah. What a wonderful way to begin the week, huh? That's gonna be rough. Karka in a room. Karka in a room with the void. Oh, poor Karket. It's I wanna say something. It's in the tag, so I kind of want to talk about it because it's kind of implied because it's in the tags, and it's like, is it spoilers if it's in the tags? But I'm also, I don't want to talk too much in depth, but like, it's in the tags. So we obviously have this here, right? And so whenever we have, oh, this is actually not going to be helpful. We want to get through this section. Yeah. So whenever Aridin is kind of trying to be a little paley, because this is Aridin trying to be pale with Karkat, and the fact that Karkat immediately thinks of like Rose of all people, whenever he tries. I'm just thinking about it. Is Pale the diamond? Yes. Pale is the diamond. Solux and Dave are Moirails, right? And that's Pale. They are pretend husband and wife after all. Very true. And even Pale relationships or more allegiance isn't what's the other term? Concupiscent is the one that involves sex. Conciliatory, right? It's conciliatory. Ashen and Pale relationships are conciliatory. And so when Aridin says, I'm not trying to get in your pants, Karkat's like, he just tried to kiss you. What else are you supposed to think? So some people don't consider Pale relationships having like physical intimacy, outside of like papping, which is canonical to Homestuck. But some people write that Pale relationships still kiss. But they just, it's not a sexual relationship. So Aridin is like, I'm not trying to get in your pants, but I am trying to get your diamond. And Karkat not understanding that. It's kind of funny. I forgot that Aridin curses and Krona smokes. Is Kankri the only angel confirmed to excessively care about that stuff? Probably. Probably. Though, actually, I'm trying to think. Does Kankri ever curse in 22 seconds? I'm trying to think if he ever broke. I don't think he does. I think he remains this fucking uppity, stuck-up, bitch-ass self. I mean, technically, it's not like smoking is a sin. You know what I mean? It's like queer platonic with humans, but in non-human cultures, it's called romantic. Yeah. Yeah. Moiral being the equivalent to like a queer platonic relationship is probably about the most accurate you can put it there. I guess smoking isn't sinful, it just seems like it is. Rip. Yeah. But yeah, what a fucking chapter. There's a lot in this. This is kind of a beefy one. Closest translation, yeah. I think queer platonic, it's like I mean, I think like platonic soulmates is also like a good term for it, which is what Homestuck itself uses. And then what's next chapter? Next chapter is, I think we get, yeah, pretty sure we get Rose POV next chapter. I think we get a Rose POV. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this chapter is Rose POV. So, fun stuff. Fun stuff. So we get Rose POV tomorrow. At least I think it is. At least that started with looking like Rose POV. That's beefy chapter. Oh yeah, it is. It was like 20k words, wasn't it? Fuck, tomorrow is gonna be a heavy chapter. So that's gonna be rough for you. We're gonna start. Oh, that reminds me. So we're gonna start at 10 p.m. EST tomorrow. Instead of 9 p.m. EST. So we're going to be starting the 20k chapter, 20k word chapter, 10 p.m. EST tomorrow. So we'll probably end up going until fucking midnight, but that's okay. I can do it. Late night tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow will be a late night stream. Oh boy, it's okay. I've been sleeping at 4 anyway. I have been as well. I have not been getting great sleep. Oh boy, I'm not sure I'm able to stay for all of that. I will have the VOD published immediately after stream as usual. So you can catch it then if you need to. Works for me since he's in the afternoon for me. Yeah, some people get lucky with the with their time zones. Good news being I'm on Pacific time. So Pacific time's 3 hours earlier. So it's what, like 7:30 for you? That's nice. That's not that bad at all. PST best time zone for these? Yeah, definitely. For sure. Oh my goodness. I gotta do some drawing stuff. I've been working on these charms. Oh, I'm so happy with them so far. I can pull them up so I can show them off a little bit. I already showed them on my, I posted them on my alt, or my private. Not my private, on my alt. I don't have a private. But I've been, stabbing away at them. I'm considering going and finishing the fic on my own, but I have school tomorrow. I'm just binge reading it. Pull up DSK1. Some people have already seen this if you follow me on Twitter. So this is the Dave one that I finished. That I'm still might have to do some adjustments to this one. But yeah, binge read YWP. I can do this too. Hell yeah. So I finished this Dave one, and then I have a Solux one that I need to. I might redraw it a bit because this was like my initial sketch, and then I wanted to make it a little bit more dynamic. So I did this instead. But I still think I want to redraw it and like try to be a bit closer to this style in the sketch. And then I have a DSK one, so Carcat, Solux, and Dave that I have to still do a lot more because this is like super early sketch. But I really want a Dave Soulcat charm, and I have one. Like I have there's a oh my gosh, who's the artist? Let me find it. OTP Homestuck charms. There is this really, really lovely, yes, these charms. They're from Zagave? I don't know how to pronounce that, but I got this with I got a Dave Soulcat one with the all quadrants symbol at the end. So they're all like I have them here. They're all lined up. I have Solux and Dave and Carcat. It's very cute. I'm very happy with them. But that's the only Dave Soulcat charm that I have right now. So I want others. And so I have a Dave Cat one. I have just like a normal Dave Cat one. That's like the two of them in little god tier outfits together. I have a Dave Sprite. I have a solo Carcat. I have a solo Solux. But I need a solo Dave. I just want all. I want everything. I want so many. And then here's my Carcat. Here's the solo Carcat that I'm making. I'm gonna do it two-sided. I have to figure out what because I'm doing different outfits on different sides, so I have to figure out what other outfit I'm gonna put Solux in, or what other pose. Because I kind of changed the pose up for Dave a little bit here too. Because I don't mind if you see the back of because it'll look like this when you see the back. So maybe I'll try to like kind of fill this in with something, but I don't mind it that much. As long as it has an outline, then it's okay. So, I was also debating because like I have these still, these the Soulmark designs that I did for like MC Escher. This is Dave's Soulmark representing Carcat, and then Carcat's Soulmark representing Dave. I was thinking about simplifying these designs a little bit and maybe like compressing them so they're a bit tighter, so they're like maybe here instead. You know, so they're just like a little bit smaller, and then compressing it and making it like a little long keychain, you know, which I think would be really, really cool. These are what got me into MCE and Undefix in general. Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Fuck yeah. I'm so proud of these designs. I'm literally, I love these so much. I would love to turn them into little keychains. So I would probably draw them again and like redraw it and kind of do some adjustments and stuff. But I would love to make them little keychains. So I have to like reposition some things. I also want to reread MC Escher because, my god, well, I always want to reread MC Escher. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, maybe I should reread the first like 20 chapters of MC Escher again because I just love MC Escher. I remember getting up to the Soulmark descriptions and going back to see these artworks. Yeah, it's funny because like this is like end game Soulmarks. Like you don't see the Earth stuff pop in until like the final chapters. So it is kind of a spoiler. You get early on and you're like, oh my god, it has the oh my god, it's this. And you're like, oh, okay. So, but thankfully they're symbols, so you don't really think too hard. As long as you don't think too hard about it, you're fine. But yeah, so I'm a big fan. I love them. But I have a bunch of other ones that I'm planning. So mostly for me, but like here's the thing, because I want to make my goal in the far future, maybe being in the next maybe couple years. I would love to run an Etsy store, like a little Etsy store where I sell charms. I don't have the resources right now to be able to do it, but after I graduate and move back home, I might be able to. And these charms I'm going to be getting from Vogue Race as like a personal set, and then maybe a couple extra to give out to some friends. And it'll be kind of like my experiment run of me making them, seeing how the process is, shipping them out to friends, seeing how that feels. And then if it goes well and I like doing it, then I can make more and do more designs and do a bunch of stuff. And I can, you know, sell them, which would be really, really fun. And I can make all sorts of charm designs. So I could do a bunch of different characters. I know there's like a few like really popular, like the main Homestuck charm designers that I know on things like Etsy and stuff. But I wouldn't want to just do Homestuck. I would do, you know, whatever fandom I would want to dip my toes into. It'd be kind of cool if I went back to Minecraft YouTube stuff and I did a few Minecraft YouTube charms. Though then you kind of get into the whole like, it's technically not your character, but I guess Homestuck is still fan art, so, you know, you're still dealing with that there. I would buy charms from you, to be honest. That's very sweet. I think charms are so fun. I think I love making charms. I love having charms. I love charms. I have a little corkboard right next to my desk that has all my little charms hung up, because they're just my favorite things. Yeah, I get you, Skitty. But I don't even want to sell like prints and stuff. I would love to sell prints. I haven't done it myself, but I would love to get my this. I want to get this printed. Like I want to get this piece printed so I can put it in my room because it just looks so good. I'm just so happy with it. There's a couple different prints or a couple different pieces of mine that I would love to have as prints. But it's just about getting it done. So I'd love to print a lot of my unda fan art stuff too. It would just be nice. So, but the thing is that whenever I draw, I never make it in the mindset that I'm gonna print it. So I'll like draw it and I'll just draw in whatever dimensions that I want, and then I'll be like, oh, this came out really nice, I'd love to print this, and then it's like fucking 6 by 12, or I don't know, like some weird dimension that you wouldn't typically print. And it's like, well, I can't really do anything with that unless I redraw it, or I have to I guess you could crop it weirdly, but I want to print my art, but I have no idea where I'd get it done. There's by the university that I'm at, they have like a print shop, and I've gotten stuff printed there before for like school and classes. I just don't take advantage of it, which I really should. I should definitely take more advantage of it because they printed the when they printed my stuff for school, that I had to have it printed for school. They did it really well, so I'm just a little lazy, and I don't make effort. So whoopsies. But that is the dilemma. I used to print stuff just on my printer, and then my printer ran out of ink. So, ooh, yikes. I've seen some websites, but they don't ship over here. There's it kind of depends on where you are, but I know like even like Walgreens, Staples, like those kind of stores, you can go on their websites and you can get things printed. They're not like crazy quality, like the peak of quality when it comes to prints, but they do print. And they aren't that bad. So if you're ever looking, that's a place to look. If I don't know if like those kind of stores, or if Walgreens and Staples are outside the US, and if you're outside the US, then that kind of sucks. But I'm sure that there might be convenience stores and stuff like that. Plus, if you're printing a lot, it gets expensive. Yeah. I would always love to like the idea of like tabling at a con or something like that would be super fun, but it's that initial investment that's like scary, especially if you don't know you'll make the return on it, right? Like if I print like, 50 prints, whatever, or even just like 10 or 20, that's a lot. And the idea that somebody would buy all of them from me, I'm like, will they? Like, will they though? I don't know. So I feel like your first time tabling is probably such a leap, not a leap, but like a step of faith, of hoping that you're not gonna lose money from it. So, but I would still love to table at a con. Oh, that'd be such a dream. I'd love to do it with somebody, because me and for what was it? There was for Holiday Matsuri. I think it was Holiday Matsuri. There was a con down here in Florida, and me and a friend were debating about going, and they were like, and they saw that you could apply it it was like a lottery system to get tables, and you had to pay a certain amount to get into the lottery, and so we paid. We didn't get it, but we would have. They really wanted. They were like, if you want a table with me, like, that'd be super cool. And I was gonna do it, and then I was like, I wouldn't have the resources to be able to print everything in time. So it didn't end up working out. But it'd be cool to do it with somebody. So, yeah. Anyways, okay. I think I should probably get going. Arch, welcome back. We wrapped up. I'm just showing off charm stuff. I am done reading. We were showing off. Oops. The Solux charm. I was showing off the charm designs that I've been making for myself. So I have a Dave, I have a Carcat, I have a Solux, and then I have a Dave Soulcat that I'm working on. The devious guy, the guys, they're so lovely. I think I showed you these last night, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I showed you the Solux. Yeah. Holds them gently, so gently. So gently. They're my little guys. I should use Solux one. Yes, that's what it was. But yeah. Well, I'm probably gonna head off and go play Outer Wilds, because I am like 6 hours into Outer Wilds and it's getting pretty good. So I'm gonna go do that. I think. So I hope you guys all have a lovely, 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 lovely night. And we will be back here tomorrow as usual. Well, not as usual. 10 p.m. EST. 10 p.m. 1 hour later than our usual time. If you're not in EST, just take whatever time we're usually going. 1 hour later. Bada bing, bada boom. That's when we're going to be starting tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Keep that noted. I will talk to you all then. Hope you all have a lovely, lovely, lovely night. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye-bye, guys. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye.